Hey guys, this is Laura from Starstruck Media, and we're here with Rachel Potter.
Hi.
Congrats, your new album just came out, not in black and white.
Yes.
It's so exciting.
Yes, I'm so excited. It's been a long time in the making, so
yeah,
really stoked that the day has finally arrived.
And you had your concert in New York a few days ago. Did that go well?
Yeah, it was great. It was really a lot of fun, and it was really special because my farewell concert in New York City was at the same place at Rockwood, and it was all of these people that had been a part of my life, and we all sang in unison like I'm leaving on a jet plane. So it just felt so right to bring the project that I've been working on for the past 2 years back to the same place, back to the same people.
And they responded well to your new music?
Yeah, I think they really loved it. It was really, really encouraging.
Awesome. Now, you've basically experienced the best of both worlds and excelled on both ends, Broadway and recording. What lessons do you think overlapped and helped you get to where you are today?
Well, there's so much to learn from the Broadway industry when it comes to performing as a recording artist, you know, and I think that just the stamina that you build and doing 8 Broadway shows a week and having to always be singing live and all of that is really invaluable, because a lot of recording artists don't get that kind of training. You know, they are good in the studio, and then you get them in a live venue and you get them touring, and they don't know how to handle, you know, vocally to keep that stamina up. So that's something that I was really, really grateful for going in, and also with my Broadway training, to learning how to, you know, riff and belt high and all that stuff. I was able to use that on this record and, you know, kind of bring some of those vocal tricks into my country music, which I was excited about.
Yeah. And then in addition to Broadway, you landed yourself a spot on the X Factor's Top 12, and where you covered Somebody to Love, which is on the new record.
It's on the new record.
And luckily it exceeded expectations. So were you hesitant to cover it, and why did you choose that song specifically?
Well, funny, that song was actually the song that I used for years in musical theater pop auditions. So I had a cut of that I sang whenever you have to sing a pop musical theater song. And so I just had been, you know, I guess made it my own over the years, and it just kind of was that song that kind of popped in my head when I went to audition for the X Factor, and just kind of had to sing a cappella for like a few seconds or whatever, you know, because there's a few rounds before you see those celebrity judges. And so that's what I sang. And then they were like, "We want you to do the whole song." And I was like, "Crap, I don't know all the words." Because for so many years I've just been doing the cut. So the night before I had to learn like all the words to Somebody to Love, but it turned out cool, and then people responded so well to it that it just made sense to put it on the record.
Yeah, and it sounds great on the record.
Thanks.
And on the X Factor, did you think the aspect of competition helped you grow as an artist?
I don't know. The aspect of competition definitely helped me grow as a person. I think just because it was some of the most pressure and the most amount of nerves that I've ever felt in my life. And to be honest, I feel like I could kind of do anything now. Like, I don't think anything would be that scary ever again. Like, even performing on the Grammys, I don't think would be that scary. Because when you're doing that, you know, you're not only just performing in front of a live audience, but then millions of people that are sitting at home. And you're then asking these, you know, 4 judges who aren't necessarily going to be nice to you to critique you in front of all of those people. Whereas if you perform on the Grammys or whatever, the Oscars, there's not people that are sitting there ready to be like, "Well, I didn't think that it was very good." You know, it's a really nerve-wracking experience. So I think I'm tougher, a lot tougher, thicker-skinned. You know.
And that wasn't your first. You did the Legally Blonde competition, correct? For Elle Woods.
That was back in 2008, I think. And that was kind of a crazy experience. I didn't get that far on that show, but I was on the first episode, and that whole experience was a lot of fun. But you know, the same. It was a lot of pressure, and you know, back in those days, all I had done at that point was work at Disney World, so that was a lot more pressure than I was used to feeling, you know, at that time. But,
And on the record, you wrote 10 out of the 13 songs, correct? And for some, the songwriting process is simple. What's the way you write songs? Is it easy, difficult? Like, what's your method?
I guess I wouldn't say it's easy or difficult. It's definitely just derived from inspiration, and it's kind of and I never try to force inspiration. It's usually just when it happens, you know. So that's why this record wasn't rushed after the X Factor was done, because I wanted to take the time to allow inspiration to strike and to have writing sessions with different co-writers and allow things to happen organically. And that's what I feel like has happened with this record. I always write, I guess I'm sort of method acting, but method writing, that it always comes from what is happening in my own life. Which is, maybe I'm a selfish writer, but I just feel like that's what I can relate to and connect to the strongest is what, my emotions, and hopefully other people feel the same way. Yeah, it's good, because some people right after like a reality TV show, they'll release an album and it'll be not personal enough to them, but that's good that you waited, because this album's awesome. Thanks. And then from my research, the album was done independently, correct? Yeah. And funded through Pledge Music by your fans. Do you think recording it without a label gave you more freedom and like creativity in like you actually being a part of it, like the recording and the all that stuff? Absolutely, because it was all me. I mean, I chose with my producer, who I hired. I went around Nashville and interviewed many producers and chose the one that I liked the most. And then we collaborated on picking the songs and how we wanted them to sound, and we had a vision for them. And there was no one telling me no, or that we need you to do this or that or the other thing. It was just all whatever I wanted, so there was an immense amount of freedom, which was great. And I feel like I ended up with something that was very representative of who I am, which I'm really proud of. Yeah. And then a lot of your songs seem to be storytellers. Do you have a favorite or one that's more personal to you, and why? Well, I mean, I love all of them, and I'm really, really keen on the messages of Not So Black and White and Jesus and Jezebel, and I'm very excited to get those out. But the one that was kind of a surprise track that kind of came out of nowhere, I had a write session scheduled just like the week before we went into the studio to cut everything. And it was with a girl named Elise Hayes, and just so happened that my boyfriend and I broke up the day before our write session. So it was just kind of completely organic, what I was feeling, and it was a very emotional write. But what we came out of the write session with was Try. And so Try was, even I was still going through that breakup in the process of recording that song. So it's funny, because the first probably 30 takes of that song, I was just crying in the studio. And not to make anybody sad, it was a very emotional moment for me. And so that's a very personal song, and I'm really happy that it resulted, that sadness resulted in a song that I think a lot of people can hold on to and latch on to, and when they're feeling that way, it's maybe something that will speak to them. Well, they say everything happens for a reason, so you got a track out of that. And where did you tend to pull inspiration from while writing? You sort of mentioned it was like personal experiences, but any like people that you got inspiration from? Yeah, definitely. It was a lot of inspiration came from the fans. When I was on the X Factor, a lot of kids started to write to me, and I'm like twice their age, but they're writing to me and talking to me about being bullied, cyberbullying, being bullied at school, and just some of the pain that some of these kids are going through that I think that I've either blocked out from when I was a teenager or didn't really experience as harshly, because when I was younger, kids couldn't hide behind text messaging and Twitter and Facebook. There wasn't any of that. If you wanted to say something mean, it had to be out loud or on the phone or, written and handed to someone on a piece of paper. Like it's not, it was, you could see the results of your actions a lot easier. So I think people weren't as bold as they are when they're hiding behind their keyboards. And it breaks my heart, because what these girls have to go through, not only with just seeing like magazines and all these like perfect photoshopped women, even I'm guilty of photoshopping my pictures. Like, if you think that my pictures are not photoshopped, you're crazy. Like a lunatic. So, I just wanted to like hug them. So like Not So Black and White and Worth It, those are like my hug songs. Like, I just want to reach out and hug them and tell them that they're wonderful just the way that they are, and if I can impart any of my old lady wisdom on them, that just to try to make yourself happy, and never going to make anybody else happy, so you just gotta do what is right for you.
Good words of advice. And then it's difficult sometimes for artists to jump from Broadway to recording artists or vice versa and be able to work their vocals to the demands of each, as you were talking about earlier, which you do flawlessly, may I add. And how are you able to mend your Broadway voice to create the country album? Like, you could sort of hear your vocal, like the belting and the riffing on this album. It's country, but you like hear your Broadway voice, and it's like awesome.
Thanks. Well, I mean, for many years, I was trying to find my sound, my country sound, and I think a big part of moving to Nashville was doing that, to remove myself from working on Broadway and singing Broadway music every day. Not that it was detrimental, but it definitely kept me in a certain mindset to be singing like that. So when I moved to Nashville, I just kind of tried to rid myself of any training and just kind of find what my sound was as a country artist. And that takes a lot of time. And even when I was still here and doing Evita and I was performing, doing country music in the city, that was a difficult transition to sing Another Suitcase in Another Hall and then like go to a bar and sing country music all night. But it's been a process that's been in the making for years. I sang with a cover band, wedding band, before I booked Wicked, and that was a huge part of finding my sound, which I think inevitably led to me having an original sound for Broadway musicals, and then also opened the door to try to find my sound for country music. But it's still a process. I still think it's an evolution all the time.
Of course. And then in one sentence, how would you describe Not So Black and White?
Well, probably that it's just not so black and white, that it's that. Well, if I can say this is what I wrote in the actual record. Here's the record. Yay. This was sort of like the mission statement, and I really believe this. So this is 2 sentences. Is that okay?
That's completely okay.
This record is dedicated to all who are trying to find their way and their voice in this world on a path that is not so black and white. May you love in the face of hate, stare down your fears, and never forget that the beauty is in the gray. And that is what Not So Black and White is all about. Yeah, it's just dedicated to people who are trying to find themselves. And, my hope for this record is that no matter whether it's, 0 to 60 and somebody wants to feel the joy in what they're experiencing in their life, or they want to roll their windows down in the summer like we were talking about, and just listen to a fun song, or whether they're going through something that's heart-wrenching and they're listening to Try, or whether they're really needing somebody to just say, hey, it's going to be okay, and they're listening to Worth It, or whatever it is, or they're struggling with their sexuality, with Jesus and Jezebel, feeling loved, or whatever. My goal for this music is just that it touches people, and if it touches one person, that it's worth it. It's all worth it.
It's worth it.
It's worth it.
Okay. And then, like I mentioned before, I happened to catch you in Addams Family and Evita. Do you hope to get back to Broadway soon? And if so, what roles do you want to play?
Well, yes, definitely. The role that I would really like to play is Elsa in Frozen.
You hear that?
Call me
Elsa.
I make an okay blonde.
Oh yeah, Glinda.
With makeup and hair.
Well, you were Glinda, so it works.
I was.
Okay, and based on tweets we've been seeing, you have a very dedicated fan base.
I do.
Paparazzi. Anything you want to say to them?
I just love you. Thanks for sticking around. You guys are the best.
And then we have a few quick questions before we leave. Okay. For talent.
Probably impressions of little kid voices.
Want to do one?
Sure. The paparazzi already knows, but I do like Nemo and Squirt.
Oh, well, that was Disney days, right?
Those were Disney days, yeah. So, okay. I can do, all right. This is Nemo.
Not to put you on the spot, but...
Here's Nemo. Okay.
Hey, Dad, do you know how sea turtles are? Sandy Plankton says they can live to be 100.
That was good.
Thanks. Do you want to hear Squirt?
Sure.
Okay.
Good afternoon again, have a great job today!
Okay.
No, that was wonderful. That was wonderful.
Okay, there you go.
Oh
my God.
song?
I'll Always Love You by Whitney Houston.
Oh, that's a good one. And who would you most want to play you in a movie about your life? Anybody off the top of your head?
Oh my god.
I know, it's kind of like...
Probably Anna Kendrick.
Oh yeah, she's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I could see that.
I really relate to her sense of humor.
Yeah,
So
she's hilarious.
I feel like we're the best friends for sure.
Yeah.
If only she'd call me back.
And most embarrassing moment on stage?
Oh god, probably when I fell out of the bubble. Wait, I have another one.
I was gonna say,
I fell out of the bubble, not like from
yeah.
but like I just tripped over the dress and like fell on the stage. That was my first time on as Glinda, but that probably wasn't my most embarrassing moment. My most embarrassing moment on stage was probably when I was in the Addams Family and it was the last line of the play. And I was really tired. I'd like had like a crazy night the night before and I don't know, whatever. But I was like looking at Brooke Shields in the face and just blanked. Had no idea what to say. And I was just like and she's like, do you want to ask me something? And I was like, yes.
Once I think of what the thing is.
So I couldn't remember, and I literally just broke character and looked around at the entire ensemble that was standing on stage, and I was like, anybody? Just because I had no idea what the line was. I mean, it was like just painful. And then finally, Jackie Hoffman, who played the grandmother, walked over to me and whispered my line in my ear, and we finished it out. I mean, my heart was like bursting out of my chest. I walked off stage and just immediately started bawling, like, because I was so upset with that, you know, because there's, when that happens to you, you just enter this, like, white room of death where you just can't think of anything. You can't even think of your name. You can't think of what state you're in. Like, it's terrible. And then, turns out Matthew Broderick was in the audience that day, and he was backstage, and he tried to make me feel better, and I was like crying, and he saw me, and he's like, "Oh, honey, don't worry about it."
Yeah, it happens to everybody.
He's like, "It happened to me too. One time it happened so bad they had to bring the script on stage." I was like,
so. Well, that's a good story. And if you could tour with anyone, who would it be?
Oh God, Taylor Swift.
That would be a good pair because she has like that pop and you have the Broadway and yours it could be moved into pop. But.
I just mostly want to be her best friend.
Well, everybody wants to be Taylor Swift's best friend.
But she just is so cool. I just want to like sit down and have a cup of hot chocolate with her and just like learn everything about life that Taylor Swift knows because she seems to really just like have it together.
Yeah.
I love her.
We have a lot of shout outs, but Taylor Swift, hey, you want to have coffee or something?
Do you want to have coffee? Do you want me to go on tour with you? Because I love you so much. And then you're that I'm like older than her and love her that much?
No, absolutely not.
Good.
And then last question, if you could relive any moment in your life, what would it be and why? Or go back to it. It could be special.
I think that if I could relive anything, I'd like to redo the X Factor over again. Like having known what I know now, to be able to go back and reapproach that without nerves. I think that like that's one of my biggest like pet peeves about that memory is just being like annoyed with myself for being so nervous, you know?
Yeah.
And like just putting so much pressure on myself. I wish I'd just been able to relax and that'd be nice to be able to redo that. But you know, everything happens for a reason, like you said. So we are where we are today, and that's all that matters.
Okay, thank you so much for sitting with us. And you guys, you can win a signed copy of Rachel Potter's Not So Black and White by visiting our website. So, see ya!
Bye!